I'm on ChannelOneNews.com. The one is the digit one. Some of the stories you'll find. Cedi gains driven by market forces, not reserve spending, BOG governor. Kumasi residents appeal to government to desilt major drains amid flooding. Late PURC board chair's funeral set for December. Mahama should be worried about arrests, intimidation tactics. That's according to Salam Mustafa. NIB has become political. NIB has become political pawn to intimidate opponents. That's according to Salam Mustafa. If you come to the trending stories on ChannelOneNews.com, Eastern Region New Lands Commission Board tasked to probe sale of government lands. Wale Circuit Court jails 2 men 5 years for stealing. NADMO warns against mountaintop construction after Accra floods. Ahiagba criticizes government over non-production-led city gains. GHS confirms 8 Mpox cases. Morality, excellence, and service are practical tools for nation building. That's according to Justice Sufaya Akufu. Tariff crossfire hits Toyota Nissan Ford suppliers in Japan. Gender Committee urges government to prioritize facilities for children with special needs. And France arrests 55 men who shared pedophile content on Telegram.
Good story, good story there. Let me move to citynotion.com. The Kotoka International Airport is safe. That's coming in from the Ghana Airports Company Limited as they refute allegations of safety breaches. Big story on citynotion.com. Also, you have Trump's foreign student ban at Harvard temporarily halted. Moving on to some local stories. Ghanaians didn't vote NDC for them to misbehave. MPP youth organizer Salam Mustafa speaking there. Adenta Kumi released following Apenyo Markin's intervention. Mahama, my government will set a standard no one can undo. Interesting. Police restore order at Adwedri after violent youth clashes. Man knocked down by Church on Achimota Highway. I saw videos of that. It was just disturbing.
It was disturbing.
Very, very unfortunate. And I wish the said gentleman, a speedy recovery. The audit services in the news, they refuted UTAG UG claims, defense integrity of report. An interesting headline here. You don't catch a wild dog unarmed. Tel Aviv defense attempted arrest of Wontumi. And Tel Aviv, the deputy interior minister, speaking yesterday after NIB, that's the National Intelligence Bureau, went to the premises of the Ashanti Regional MPP chairman. Effective leadership behind Cedi gains. Mahama tells Baumia in the eastern region in Nsawam Adrodri, Zongo youth have clashed over an Okada rider's death. An interesting story or report here as the writer sheds lights on the neglected Sunyane Children's Park as it sparks renewed calls for redevelopment. Right, and I'm sure if you go to other regions, it's probably the same story. The veteran actor Akrobeto survives car crash on Accra Kumasi Highway.
Wow.
We are grateful to God for his life.
Wow.
All right, and also...
Yeah, I have graphic, online.com. Some of the stories you'll find on that portal. Slow down. Left to rot, Kanjo Kura Chips compound in deplorable state. You don't go arresting a wild dog unprepared. Security officers were there to invite Wontumi, Deputy Minister of Interior. It is erroneous for UTAG to assume league on management was not engaged before final report on 59.2 million Ghana cedis overstated payroll. That's according to the audit service. Residents of these areas have been put on alert as Ghana Water begins spillage of Wager Dam. NPP alleges NDC misusing state security forces to target opposition. Amazing Grace Children's Charity support pediatric cancer patients at 3 hospitals in Accra. We're not recruiting, that's according to the Ghana National Fire Service. They're warning the public against recruitment scams. NIB withdraw officers from Wontumi's residence following tensions over botched arrest. Mpox cases in Ghana rise to 8. Interior Ministry beefs up security in conflict-prone areas. MPP General Secretary slams as disgraceful arrest of Adenta Kumi following petition to President. 4 arrested at Kotoka International Airport over cannabis trafficking attempt.
GhanaNewsAgency.org.gh, BOG modernizes monetary policy approach. The big story we received on Thursday, I believe, Vice President Opoku Agyeman returns home from London. And the gold board is in the news as they've extended the deadline for transition to gold trading license regime. And all through this week, it's been a very busy week for the AMA, particularly because they're spearheading the decongestion exercise in major parts of the central business districts, right? So this story by JNA captures it quite well. It says, Accra CBD breathes easier after decongestion exercise. And they've been speaking to the public on their thoughts around this. And an editorial on GNA, and it reads, morality, excellence, and service, not mere lofty ideals, but practical tools for nation building. And they, attribute this to the former Chief Justice, Sophia Ekufo. Some rather disturbing stories. MPP supporters massed up at the house of Chairman Wontumi, the Ashanti Regional Chairman, and they've been accusing government of intimidation, and they demand due process in the Wontumi case. We'll see how it develops, but it's building more and more and more with each day that passes by. I don't know if it's a good time to delve into the headlines.
Let's do GhanaWeekend.com first. Some of the stories you'll find on GhanaWeekend.com, the portal. Rihanna surpasses 92 million monthly listeners on Spotify for first.
She doesn't even put out new music.
It's been what? I think ever since she started giving birth, she hasn't brought out any new music. It's about Fenty and hair, and she'll get there. She'll get there. She'll get there. She's making time for her family.
It's important. Family is important, if not the most important.
Beefing and killing don't make sense. Azigiza Jr. warns artists against toxic rivalries. Azigiza Jr. again, technology makes success easier in today's music industry. The Township drops Old John Saba Road. Sophie delivers soulful Afrofusion experiences with Coke Studio Sessions LA Live EP. I can now see and read messages Kofi Adoma after eye surgery. Veteran actor Akrobata survives car crash on Accra Kumasi Highway. Dr. Pushkin becomes first Northern Guinean rapper to hit 1 million views on YouTube. Dave Shapiro, groundbreaking music executive, dies in San Diego plane crash at 42. GCTU Vice Chancellor stresses need for better infrastructure. 26 TJMA, I taped my mouth to symbolize men's silent struggles. That's Tulenki. YouTuber Kwadwo Sheldon threatens legal action after home floods during Accra downpour. Other stories, Wendy Shea reveals family urged her to quit music due to bullying trauma. Nigerian singer Omale involved in ghastly car accident. Miss G husband fights Baumia's aid over TT's leaked audio. These are some of the stories you'll find on Ghana Weekend. Now we can delve into some of the stories. And a
story by Nilate Latte on the City Business Desk. KIA is safe, and I'm referring to the Kotoka International Airport, as the Ghana Airport Company Limited refutes allegation of safety breaches. Except reads, the Ghana Airport Company Limited has dismissed reports of operational and safety lapses at the Kotoka International Airport. It follows widespread reportage suggesting a series of allegations regarding equipment shortages, staff safety, and restricted access protocols. But management of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, in a statement, rebutted and described the reports as not only misrepresented, but also false and misleading because they undermine the reputation of the aviation industry. The story goes on to read, while warning that individuals spreading false information of defamatory content will face disciplinary and legal action, it added that it will continue to maintain world-class and safety operational standards at its facilities. And the story goes on and on and on and on.
I like how they took pictures of everything they were talking about. So the vehicles, the shoes, the safety equipment, the ones, just to emphasize that whatever those allegations are untrue, and that they have equipment to work with and work properly.
Yeah.
It would be devastating if the story were true.
Yeah. Great news. I mean, the only issue with me at the airport really is sometimes I didn't know about the safety concerns, right? Also because I don't work there. I don't go there long enough to be able to. But for the few times I've been there, the major concern I think they should work on is the professionalism of the staff, right?
Oh my goodness.
From customs to the last person at immigration, or like all through the chain, everybody's asking for money.
I think they
You know,
need what is it? The customer experience.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Need to go through training.
Of course, it's not all of them. There are
Yeah.
some very professional ones there who understand why they are there, right? You know, it's terrible. And you get people, I remember when we organized the program, we brought in a footballer to come and do some charity work here in Ghana, right? So the team, of course, handling all of this, you know, and every single person is asking for money. You've not met somebody before. The first time you are seeing him, you don't even know whether that person is a witch or a wizard, right? You don't even know where the person is getting his money from. And the only thing that could come to your mind because you work at the airport is whether they can leave something for you. It's even the people, the place where you go to pay your parking ticket, when they have to give you change, they are asking, oh, by the way, so here, 50 cedis no me here. What are you telling me? You know, so I think that while they pay attention to safety issues with regards to their operations, they should also pay attention to the professionalism, you know, and crab the whip. It's an international airport, for crying out loud. Anyway.
All right, let me bring us the story. Cedi gains driven by market forces, not reserve spending. BOG Governor, that's on ChannelOneNews.com. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Asiama, has attributed the recent appreciation of the Ghana cedi to strong market fundamentals rather than direct central bank intervention. Speaking at a press briefing on Friday, May 23, to conclude the bank's Monetary Policy Committee meeting, Dr. Asiama stated that the cedi gains are being propelled by solid internal inflows and a strong trade balance. The appreciation is largely driven by the market. We're not using our reserves to intervene in the market, he said, dispelling speculation that the central bank had propped up the currency through heavy reserve spending. Dr. Asiama emphasized that the bank's focus remains on ensuring exchange rate stability through sound macroeconomic policies and not unsustainable short-term fixes. Our trade balance is doing very well, and for us, it is about maintaining stability in the exchange rate, he added. The governor's remarks come amid rising confidence in the local currency, which has posted significant gains against major international currencies in recent weeks. Analysts say improved export performance, strong remittance inflows, and restrained import demand have contributed to the city's recovery. The BOG's decision to allow market forces to determine the city's value is expected to strengthen investor confidence and reinforce fiscal discipline across the economy. Yeah, I hope now everybody can go to rest with who made the city stronger and who did what and who did what.
Although take credit where credit is due, right? So one is saying that it's good for oil, the other they say, oh, we are increasing our exports through tightening, you know, policy and the introduction of gold board and all of that. So we'll see how, you know, it goes. But for a lot of Ghanaians, I think their interest really lies in the fact that the cedi is appreciating quite well against the dollar and other major currencies. But they want it to now reflect in their pockets, right? I'm sure it will take some time, but it shouldn't take too long a time, right? Already you've seen fuel prices coming down. For me, another area is the services, right? So those who do those within the services sector, you know.
Actually, let me add hospitality to whatever it is you're coming to say.
Actually,
hotel prices in Accra are crazy.
I get that a lot of it, a lot of their what goes into their pricing, you know, in a lot of ways depend on the tariffs they are paying, electricities, the taxes and all of that. But, you know, why, if, for example, people do laundry.
They're still charging in dollars.
You know, those who, we should pay attention. So whilst we call for goods, you know, products to come down, right? I think those in the services sector too, we should keep an eye on them. You know, they need to, start looking at, their pricing again as the economy, bounces back. Yesterday, a big story that got a lot of people talking really was the arrest of an NPP youth activist, by name Alfred Kumi, who is popularly within political circles also referred to as Adenta Kumi because he's from Adenta or stays in Adenta. He's from the constituency, right? And had contested in the past or was an aspirant. I don't think he went on the ballot paper, but he had shown interest of contesting. So he's also widely referred to as Adenta Kumi. He was arrested by the NIB, the National Intelligence Bureau, over, now we are told, he was charged with the publication of false news over certain comments he made with regards to some Supreme Court judges, right? And the ongoing Chief
CJ
Justice
case.
removal case, right? And he was called to come and assist with investigations around comments he made with regards to some judges on the committee being compromised, right? And that landed him in trouble. He was picked up in his house as early as 6 a.m., we are being told. But this story by Fred Duo, who's also in the ChannelOne newsroom, says that he has been released following Apenyo Market's intervention. And we saw videos of that yesterday when he was in the office of the former majority leader, now minority leader, and was also at the NPP headquarters, right? And they were singing the elephant is winning, they were happy. Anyway, headline story, Adenta Kumi released following Apenyo Market's intervention. Alfred Abebio Kumi, a youth activist of the New Patriotic Party and a former parliamentary aspirant, popularly known as Adenta Kumi, has been released from the custody of the National Investigations, I think it's National Intelligence Bureau. I don't know. We should
Intelligence Bureau.
His release followed a high-level engagement between security officials and the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Apenyo Markin. Kumi was arrested on Friday, May 23, 2025, and charged with the publication of false news. The charges stem from the comments he made on X, formerly Twitter, and during a radio interview relating to a petition he submitted to the President of Ghana. The petition calls for the dissolution of the committee currently investigating the Chief Justice. In the petition, Kumi alleged misconduct by members of the judiciary that he claims could compromise the integrity of the inquiry. Specifically, he claimed that on May 15, 2025, after the committee's inaugural sitting, Justices Puaman and Adibu Esiedu, along with Supreme Court Justice Yoni Kulendi, were spotted dining with Tadio Sori, counsel for the petitioner Daniel Ofori, at Santoku restaurant in the airport residential area of Accra. Kumi further alleged that the group was overheard discussing matters relating to the ongoing petition. The case stirred political attention due to its implication for judicial independence and freedom of expression, which Kumi supporters arguing that his arrest was politically motivated. So, that's the big story. It's been released, but I'm sure he'll still be made to assist with investigations. A lot of the time we talk about freedom of speech, right? But it comes with responsibilities.
Freedom after speech is not guaranteed. They also end with that.
Yeah, it comes with responsibilities. So while you are free to say what you want to say, and for him as a politically exposed person, his comments can rile up sentiments, right? It can rile up emotions. So it was important that he recognizes the responsibility he has, right? Ultimately to the truth. So if he said he has overheard them, we've seen the footages, and for me, I don't see anything sinister in them, and you are being told from the other side that it was a mere coming together, right? It wasn't planned. It's not my duty to go into the psychology of it, whether it's, but my point is that to go as far as saying that you overheard them, right? Then I feel like it puts a certain level of responsibility on you. So you should come out and explain to the...
Did he say they were overheard or he overheard them?
Whichever way.
I think we need to clarify
Whichever way. Whether he overheard them or they were overheard by staffers in the restaurant or whatever.
I think we need to clarify that.
So what the people who overheard it, assuming it wasn't even he who heard them, and who overheard, what did they tell you? right? So I think it's well in place for the NIB to invite him over. What I wasn't...
Did they invite him or did they arrest him?
What to so I'm getting this. What I wasn't enthused about was the approach, right? In asking him to come for investigations, right? You don't go to his house at 6 a.m. with armed men and guns.
I think is it his mother who narrated that his wife has miscarried?
I've not heard that.
Yeah,
I've not heard that.
She had gone to do a DNC or something of some
Yeah,
kind.
we wish the family the best.
While that was happening in Accra, also in Kumasi,
Yeah.
Wontumi was also, the NIB also stormed his residence, but they were unable to enter his premises. He has very high walls, and his gates were
So
locked.
they're telling me that
And
the
according to
NIB
Hafiz,
couldn't enter
no, they
his house.
couldn't. They were standing outside throughout the whole operation, so they left.
So they couldn't
being
use
able
force to enter his house.
Forced to. Well, when I saw the gate, the one that Hafiz was standing in front, unless you use
National
a bulldozer
Intelligence
or something.
Bureau.
Yeah. So
What type? What?
They were unable to make that arrest. They were unable to enter his house. Hafiz said they flew a drone to check if he was within his compound. And then I don't know whether the drone lost,
It's buried.
Yeah, with the phone. And so
connection.
it fell into the house. And so they were unable to make any arrests.
But
And we were unable to tell whether he was in his house at that particular time anyway. Also a very early morning.
I'm worried if National
arrest.
Intelligence Bureau can't arrest because they couldn't, for whatever reason, break into their house. What is the house made of?
Because then maybe they don't have the warrants to go do that.
To break into his house.
Yeah,
if you
because
have the
if they
warrant
did,
to
I'm sure
show,
they would
if
have
you have the warrant
entered
to
the
show
house.
up at his gate,
But the
you
thing
should have the
is-
warrant to enter his
The
house.
thing is, he had already been invited.
And he didn't.
And
Yeah, so now force
he
must
had
be applied,
written to
right?
them with his lawyers, according to his lawyer, they had written to them that they would meet them on Monday, which is 26th,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
And so for them to come to his house Rambo style like that, it was a bit absurd to him. And
So according to his lawyer, they had written to the NIB that they will show up on Monday.
on Monday, yes. Police, they had written to the police.
But the NIB
And
wanted
so
him earlier.
I do not know how the NIB came into the matter. So according to the NIB, or according to the lawyer, the NIB said they were coming to arrest him and take him to Accra. And the arrest was foiled by whatever reason. They were unable to enter his premises to arrest him. We don't even know if he was in his house at that particular time because the drone fell into the compound.
But what was this
That's very
running joke on
interesting.
social media that he was hiding under his bed and things?
Nobody saw him. So those are all just rumors.
People need to stop that, especially,
Those are all just rumors. Or unless he probably said it on his radio station, but I doubt he would say that. Because
people
I
are
heard
running-
him speak.
People close to him
after
have been
the
speaking.
foiled arrest.
People close to him have been speaking, and of course, a very political story. So people put all manner of twists to it, right? But I saw one that said that he was hiding under his bed, and I'm like, come
It's
on,
not
guys.
true. Nobody saw him.
We don't even know whether he was at home.
The NIB didn't even
But he was
seem
at home,
like
right?
this. I don't know. And
Because
his
one of
lawyer
the
didn't
stories-
confirm whether he was home
One
or
of the
not, but-
stories said that he was at his residence.
Well, but that might not be the only residence he has. But
and for
the
me-
lawyer said he was in communication with his client, but he did not say whether he was in the house or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And for me, of course, it's not in my place to give security lessons and security tips, right? But I feel like a lot of the misinformation we have out there is also because some of these security agencies don't want to speak. And see other jurisdictions, right? Once they say, I remember,
there's a raid or some
Governor
sorts. Yeah.
Governor Newsom also, one of the governors in the US, for example, an arsonist attempted, to burn down parts. The security from the FBI to the whole chain, to state police, 24/7, they were giving updates almost
what's
like every
happening.
hour, right? Of course, this is not the scenarios are not the same, but I feel like our security intelligence, they should be speaking to us, right?
Like it's shrouded in secrecy, and so you don't know what they're doing or why they're doing what they're
Yeah, but
doing.
they should speak, right?
They should.
Because
I
I
couldn't
feel
agree
like,
with you more.
of course, they have their own SOPs, right?
Yeah.
The standard operating
Of operation,
procedure. We don't know what it is. Some of the issues require that they keep it from the public due to its sensitive nature. But, at the end of the day, if you don't come out to clarify the issues, people will go to town with whatever. Of course, they'll say, well, it's not really in there. They don't really. But, you know, because of how also very political some of these things are, they need to be coming out to be engaging the media, engaging the public, explain to them, you know, and I think we'll be better for it. I've seen the AG tries to do that on matters that he is concerned with, right? That's a good step. But the security agencies
need to take a cue from that as well.
They should speak.
Yeah.
They should speak.
Well, that's our news review segment for you. We'll be right back with one of our favorite segments on the show, What's Happening? Don't go away.